Hi, I'm Ned Reynolds for Ozarks Basketball Preview, our 35th annual edition. Can that be possible? We have two coaches this year, two coaches of the year. Of course, they're the 2020-21 coaches. The gentleman to my left is one of them, one half, and he's certainly a very familiar figure to you all because he is a repeat winner. Brett Reed from Hartville, the state champions, undefeated state champions, and an individual who has been coaching at Hartville for quite a while and had nothing but absolutely outstanding success. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you go into this season with 42 straight wins. Does that sound right?
Somewhere in there, 42, 44, something like that.
That's pretty good. When you take a look at last year's team, an undefeated state championship team, what was it about that team that gelled? What was it that made them very good?
You know, Ned, they were just competitors in everything that they did. From the time I was telling Jeff earlier, I got there when these kids were in first grade. That's when I took the Hartville job, and those boys would get in trouble on the playground at recess for being so competitive. They were always fighting. They were always, trying to beat each other. And I think that is, what made them so special. They would compete against each other in practice, and then of course take that and come together as a team and go try to compete.
Is there any way, Brent, of realizing how long those kids had played together? Are most of them right from kindergarten on? Yes.
Our superintendent took them all over the place playing when they were younger. Mark Piper just did a great job with our youth programs, and he is definitely a big part of their success.
When you take a look at the Hartville program, and the cynics will say, yeah, all right, they won 2 state championships and they won 42 straight, whatever it is. But who do they play? Well, they hadn't played anybody. How about Kickapoo and Nixa, knocking them off, and the Greenwood team that 3 years ago, had won a state championship? That's pretty fair competition.
Yeah, I don't think anybody could knock our schedule. I think we played a fairly tough schedule for a Class 2 team last year, or 2 years ago, and then obviously went to Class 3 this last year.
Brent, when you assess this team and you take a look at the overall slate of games in a 31-game winning streak that you had all of last year, of course, there's the additions of the year before as well. What is the particular catalyst during the season? When did Brett Reed realize, hey, we just may go undefeated here?
After we won the last game.
Yeah, I got you.
No, I mean, honestly, that's kind of the approach that I try to take. It hit me, after we had beat Greenwood and Kickapoo and Sunrise Christian there in the Winter Classic that replaced the Bass Pro Tournament Champions. It hit me that we had a chance to finish out the regular season undefeated. We had some tough games left, but probably not any as tough as we had played thus far. And so it did kind of hit me, and I thought, that would be special to finish the regular season undefeated, but also that would add some pressure going into the playoffs.
And do you feel that pressure from the folks in Hartville?
I don't think that folks in Hartville put any pressure on me. I think it was just my own pressure. Okay, these boys just finished off a regular season with maybe our toughest schedule we've ever played in program history, and now we're going into the playoffs, and we've got to win. Last year we got to win 6 games to win the whole thing, and obviously we knew that was going to be tough as well. But just our approach was to try to take it one game at a time, and I think that's what we did. Didn't really enjoy that undefeated season until the buzzer went off in the last game.
When you had the Greenwood games, now you're up against a really outstanding basketball team with some great players on it. What was your approach? Because Hartville does, you're practitioners of a different style of basketball, kind of a throwback to the old days. What did you do?
Yeah, I thought that might come up a little. So we felt like with, and I think this goes back to any school our size, is we need to have our best 5 players on the floor. And our bench was very, very good this year. They, without them, we don't achieve what we achieve. We needed our bench. But to have our best 5 on the floor was our best chance of success. To do that, we needed a game that allowed fewer possessions. And so at times we would spend a little bit more time on offense, and we're fine with guarding for long periods of time defensively. And in those games, for the most part, we got to keep our best 5 on the floor, and we're able to, end up in the lead when the buzzer sounded.
Okay, we're playing in the 2020s now, and we're talking about the 2021 season. These kids watch TV. They see the games, they see the run and gun and the dunk and all that. How do you discipline them to play a slow down pattern game?
Well, honestly, I think it goes back to trust. I mean, they trust me, and they trust that I have our team's best interest in mind. They want to win, and they, like I said, they're competitors and they're winners, and they believed that if I told them that we would win if we did this, that we would. I'll be honest, there were times I was unsure if we would, but I thought it gave us our best shot at the time, and those boys just executed perfectly. There's nights we could have went and played up and down and scored 90 and could have won that way too. We just felt like in some of those games that a shorter possession game helped us.
You just answered the next question I was going to ask. If high school basketball had a shot clock, could your team have still won?
Yes, I think so. I think if you really look back at it overall, if the shot clock was 35 seconds, and I've never truly looked at each possession, but my best guess is in those games where we had longer possessions, we probably only would have had 4 or 5 shot clock violations in that game. And I think that's maybe being a little bit over the top, probably not even that many.
Brent, I had the personal pleasure of doing a couple of Hartville's games this year. 2 of them involved the Greenwood Blue Jays, one at JQH Arena and the other at BBC in Springfield. Both were pressure-packed games. Now, the one at JQH was kind of a runaway. You guys won that one big. But the one at BBC was not. It was a 3-point win. How would you assess the kids' mental outlook in a really close, hard-fought game?
Well, if you want me to just assess the differences in those games, is we played extremely well in the first game, shot the ball extremely well, and Greenwood did not. I think we might have caught them just at the right time. I don't think they were playing at a real high level. The second game we knew was not going to be that way. I mean, we've played we've had some dog fights with Greenwood over the years, no doubt, and it just came down to, I think there's several lead changes in that game at BBC. I think we led early, they led some in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter we finally just got ahead by enough, a couple points, 4 points, that we were able to hold on, get to the free throw line, make free throws, and seal the deal.
Were the semifinals and the championship game, I don't want to say easier road because there is no such thing, but were they lesser pressurized games than the previous ones you played?
The semifinal game, we got off to a really good start and really defended well. And I believe we held Lift for Life Academy to 9 points at halftime, which was probably our season best. But the state championship game was a very, very good team. That Monroe City team was really good, and I think they have a lot returning. They'll be one of the favorites, I think, if the classification stayed the same. I was as impressed with Monroe City as I was with many of the teams we played on our schedule. Nix's, the Kickapoos, the Greenwoods, and many others. Monroe City was good.
With the games being played down here in Springfield at JQH Arena, how did the town of Hartville react to all of that? Were they most of them here?
I would say pretty much all of them, yes. Yeah, there's 600 in the city limits, and I would say there's more than 600 there. Just to give you an example, I think we sold 1,100 Final Four shirts. So that's almost double the city limit sign. Obviously, Hartville goes beyond city limits, but I think pretty much everyone was there.
Now, Hartville, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's the county seat of Wright County?
Yes, sir.
All right, you have the city, or the county government for that matter, they're all involved in this. Everybody's a fan. How does Brett Reed look at the fan base in terms of their knowledge of the game? Are they knowledgeable?
Absolutely. I mean, Hartville has a tradition, a historic tradition of I would call it basketball excellence over the years, long before I got there, through the 80s and 90s. I think I talked about this last year. There's been some great coaches come through that program, and some great teams and great players. The fans, there's guys that's been watching games for 40 or 50 years up in the stands. They're keeping stats. They let me know. They let me know what needs to be worked on. But very knowledgeable. But mostly when I talk about our fans, I'm just thankful. I'm thankful for how they support our kids and our program and our school.
During the course of the year, who was your coach on the floor?
Well, I would like to say Rice Piper. He was our point guard. But those 5 guys, they knew their roles and they played them perfectly.
I'm glad you said that. That echoes the comments of a kid named Anthony Tolliver, who was here a couple of weeks ago and talked at the Springfield Sports Hall of Fame, and he advised the crowd. He said, folks, you play your role. In every profession, basketball, baseball, life, you play your role, you don't get into trouble, You play what you're told, do what you're told to do, and you'll be a winner. He has 14 years in the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that pretty much says what your coaching philosophy is.
Well, yes. I mean, if any of those kids at any time wanted to be selfish or were not satisfied with their role, or didn't do well in their role, didn't achieve what we needed them to achieve, then we don't have the success as a unit that we had this year. And I think that's one thing I can say about our guys last year is whatever it took to win, whatever they thought they had to do to win, whether it was scoring 20 or cleaning up the glass and getting 5-6 rebounds a game, 10 assists a game, whatever the stat may be. If they thought it would help us win, they would do it. They were all in, and they had a put our program and our team over themselves every single day.
Brett, how many of the kids who you lost this year have gone on to college to play?
Just one, just Piper. He went to Drury. Some of the others had some offers. I say that Eli Cook is also playing baseball at Evangel. So some of them had some offers. Some of them went to work, just had other goals, other dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that. I would of course like to see them all go on and play just so I could keep watching. I wish they would all went and played at one place together. I would have liked to see how they did.
I think they would do very, very well, in all honesty. Tell the folks a little bit about your duties at Hartville, basketball coach. What else do you do?
I'm the athletic director. I actually have gotten some more duties this past year. So I'm the athletic director, A+ coordinator, summer school director, coaching junior high basketball, high school basketball. I think that's about it.
Are you teaching anything at all? Any classes?
Oh yes, I've got a couple of weight training classes, and I teach a couple of high school PE classes as well. Do some in-school detention, and then I have a few hours to work on my athletic director duties.
Now tell the folks a little bit about your background and how you got into coaching, how you got into teaching, for that matter.
Well, a lot of my family was coaches. My stepfather was a coach, my uncle was a coach, and I grew up around the game. And so from the time I was in, I guess, 6th grade, I coached my first team when I was in 6th grade. So I've wanted to be a coach my whole life. I've had many people try to talk me out of it along the years. My grandpa used to say, well, you're not going to make any money coaching. I'm like, well, I don't need any of that money anyway, Grandpa. You give me some, But,
That's good.
I've wanted to be a coach my whole life because I was around the game. And if I could go back and do it over again, maybe I would be a little bit richer, but I would never trade these memories and relationships that I have with these kids.
Glad to hear you say that. You don't deny anything that's ever happened. When you take a look at your coaching career, which is how long now? How many years?
Oh goodness! So I just finished my 10th year at Hartville, 12 years overall. So this is the start of my 13th year.
Are you native to Hartville?
I am not. I'm actually I went to high school at Doniphan, Missouri.
Oh, down in the toward the Boot Heel.
Towards Boot Heel, yeah.
Where did you go to college?
I went several places. I went to Lindenwood University and played basketball there for a year, and then transferred to Three Rivers Community College, which is down by Doniphan.
G-Bess.
I actually had a basketball class with Coach Bess, and it was very informative. I learned a lot from Coach Bess, and then came and finished out at Missouri State. Didn't play sports or anything, just finished my degree.
Which is in education for the most part?
Physical education, yes. And since then, I've got my master's in administration.
Also from Missouri State?
William Woods this time. I've bounced around a lot, man. I want to see every university. Right.
Well, this has to be very rewarding to you. Now, you're back-to-back Coach of the Year, but winning basketball is nothing new to you. The question is this. Now, you're still a young man. Does it ever get old? Do you ever take anything on a routine basis?
Absolutely not. Every day is a new challenge. We talked about this in practice today. We've got to try to win each moment. So whatever happened in the past is in the past, and we've got to try to win what's in front of us, try to win each moment in front of us, and try to be a better version of ourselves in the coming days. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, Ned. I'm a very fortunate man. My success has very little to do with me and a whole lot to do with the players that I've had. I've had some very, very talented players and some great kids who trusted me, and I've trusted them along the way, and we've had a lot of success. Without them and many others, I'm not sitting right here beside you for the 2nd year in a row, which I'm sure you're extremely happy about, right?
Well, it is a second interview, of course. There's no question about that. That makes it a lot easier. But by the same token, though, the coach is the individual who have to bring these kids together. They may have all the talent in the world, they may know exactly what they're doing, but you're the one who has to blend everybody and blend those talents and have them perform. So from that aspect, I think you're selling yourself awfully short.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think coaches sometimes get too much credit for the wins and maybe take too much blame for the losses. But luckily for me, as of right now, I'm getting a lot of credit. So, also, just, you're supposed to be interviewing me, but you're not going to pick us 31-0 this year, are you?
Did I last year?
No. So far, we've managed to get you by a couple wins every year on your pick. So I was hoping you weren't going to come at me with a 31-0 this year.
And Brett, in my philosophical approach to these things, I try never to pick an undefeated season. Now that has escaped my grasp here recently, but be that as it may, no.
Okay, all right.
Do
I'll just give you a hard time.
This is probably going to be answered in the story that's written about you in the magazine itself, but do you see a difference in the kids you have coming in this year as opposed to your championship group?
There are some differences. Probably just right now for us is experience. Most of the kids we have coming back didn't play any varsity basketball last year because we had such a good senior class and a big senior class. So for us, it'll be a year of growth where we're trying to adapt to the speed of the varsity game. Similarities is these kids are Eagles. They've seen what it takes to be successful. They're putting in the work. They're doing things the right way, going about their business the right way, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can accomplish. Well,
when you have the new blood coming in, that pipeline has to be cultured. What do you do at Hartville? Do you have youth leagues and things like that?
Oh yeah, yes. So starting from when they're in kindergarten, they're either playing at different places with coaches or they are playing against each other and working at least in the gym once a week, working on fundamentals.
And there's the key right there. They are knowing exactly what Britt Reed wants to do. Now, one final question I want to ask is your goals. Would it bother you if you stayed at Hartville for the rest of your career, or do you have loftier goals in mind? As you mentioned earlier, a lot of these coaches are making a lot of money.
Right, and again, I think I would go back and tell my grandpa the same thing, that I didn't get in this for the money. I truly believe right now I'm coaching in basketball heaven. I don't think there's a better place in the world for me to work. They let me do my job. Parents let me do my job. The kids respect what I say. And as long as that is going on, there's absolutely no reason for me to leave. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to pass down a large sum of money, but for the most part, I'm very happy where I'm at, and I know my wife is too.
His name is Brett Reed. He has coached a second straight state championship at Hartville, which is, as Brett pointed out, is a colossus of basketball for this area. They're up there in the championship hunt, maybe not every year, but certainly more so yes than no. And the teams have been great. Last year's was 31-0, and a terrific year that included big wins over Greenwood, Kickapoo, Nixa, teams of that caliber. Lift for Life came down here, and they were a loaded team. And you guys handled them.
We did, yes. They were a very good team, very athletic. I was surprised, actually, to see them beating Thayer. I was kind of expecting Thayer. Thayer was really, really good. And so to see them beat Thayer, obviously I was worried, but we played extremely well in that semifinal game.
Well, Brett, congratulations on your second straight award from the Ozarks Basketball Preview, the 2021 Coach of the Year. Brett Reed, he is one of our 2 Coaches of the Year this year. Brett Reed of Hartville, and who knows, we may see you back here again next year.
Thank you, Ned. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.